I'm Steve Lascazzo, and this is The Way. Welcome to the recap and discussion podcast episode for Season 2, Episode 10 of Andor, a Star Wars story, now streaming on Disney+. Make It Stop is an emotional start to the final story arc, BBY-1. As a reminder, all episodes are now streaming. This is The Way podcast has a series of first impressions available now for each of the story arcs that talks in general about the events on screen in each of the 3 weekly episodes that make up the movie-length Star Wars sequence of stories that was released each week for Andor. This is the 10th recap and discussion episode for Season 2, and you will have 2 more coming. There are 12 for Season 1 as well if you go back and listen to the coverage in 2022. Podcast episodes 91 to 104 of This is the Way podcast. After episode 10 of season 2, you've seen about 7 hours and 10 minutes of Star Wars television, with at least an hour and 12 minutes left to go.
On program. That means hands on head, eyes front, feet on the floor. Do it!
Tony Gilroy is the showrunner and creator of Andor and has masterfully delegated duties to craft some of the best Star Wars in the canon. The writer of the final story arc is Tom Bissell. Primarily, up to this point, he's been a video game story writer. Yes, he's a journalist too, but as a creator and not a reporter, he's done mostly video games. It says something. Tony Gilroy looked at his work and said, hey, I think you're capable of doing stuff after Gears of War, The Vanishing of Ethan Carter, Uncharted, and his movie screenplay debut, The Disaster Artist, which is based on a book he wrote of the same name about the worst movie ever made called The Room.
I did not hit her. It's not true. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
Proof of concept might have been his work on the Mosquito Coast series for Apple TV+, but I just gotta say, I never had a desire to watch that show, and now suddenly I might check this out. It's been available for 3 or 4 years. Tony Gilroy saw all that work, the video game work, that kind of work, and said, I think you'd be right for this Star Wars project. Kudos to him. The director is Alonso Ruiz Palacios. It's his first Star Wars project. 2 episodes of Narcos Mexico, the pilot and 2nd episode of the Prime Video series Outer Range, starring Josh Brolin. Nothing screams success, but again, kudos to Tony Gilroy for picking that guy. There has been a lot of crew overlaps for the 9 previous episodes, so maybe it doesn't all fall on the writer and the director. There's been a lot of great crew. I ask that you, as the listener, you go back to previous podcast episodes if you want to hear more in-depth discussions about each and every cast and crew member. At the beginning of Season 2, I discussed some of the history, possible ties to Tony Gilroy from past projects, shows people might have worked together on, which led to getting a role in Star Wars. You will hear examples of that when someone new pops up, mostly in the cast, but sometimes I've added names to the crew as well. So if you want to hear about a specific crew position, go back and listen to all the other podcasts and find the first time I mention them. I have to skip a lot. There's just too much to just keep rehashing. It's there in the past. And also, it helps promote more views and listens of my previous episodes on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever service you use.
I so appreciate the support.
So returning from previous episodes in Season 2, the production designer, music, original Andor themes, casting directors, visual effects supervisor, visual effects producer, costume design, hair and makeup, special creature effects, and the stunt coordinator. Those are all the same for episode 9 as they were for episodes 1 through 8, and now in episode 10 as well. New to this season, though, for episode 10 is director of photography Damian Garcia. His career on IMDb starts in 2000. In 2008, he worked on a short called Cafe Paraiso that was written and directed by Alonso Ruiz Palacios, the director of this episode. Years later, Garcia was cinematographer on several episodes of Narcos Mexico, including the 2 directed by Alonso. He was also the DP for 2 movies Alonso wrote, but did not direct. Hueros and Museo. Editor for episode 10 was Morten Højsberg. He edited Nymphomaniac Volumes 1 and 2. And why am I bringing that up? Well, Stellan Skarsgård starred in it as Seligman. Højsberg also edited Season 4, Episode 7 of The Crown, The Hereditary Principle, and 3 episodes in Season 2 of Slow Horses on Apple TV+. The Disney Plus runtime for episodes is posted in parentheses. The claim for this episode is 51 minutes. Now, the runtime if you skip the Lucasfilm limited screen and the Star Wars helmet sequence, but don't skip the Nicholas Britell and Brandon Roberts original theme music for each episode, will be 41 minutes, 11 seconds. If you skip all the way to the first shot on the screen, you'd save yourself a little bit more than a half a minute, 40 minutes and 34 seconds to the cut to black. That's from the Ferrex Anvil sound with the 1 year later and BBY1 in blue text all the way to the cut to black from Luthen on the hospital table. The thumbnail description available on the show's Disney Plus Episodes tab reads the same as the description on the show's episode page in Disney Plus. It reads, Lonnie Young taps out, Dedra closes in, Luthen scrambles, Kleya delivers.
You think anybody's listening? They do. Someone's out there.
I talk about skipping a lot of things, but then I end up discussing the main build cast every episode, whether they're new or not. Now, this might be the first episode Cassian Andor does not appear at all, so no Diego Luna. Stellan Skarsgård is Luthen Rael. I guess he's also Sergeant Lear, as we'll find out. Rael is Lear backwards. Denise Goff is Supervisor Dedra Miro of the ISB. Elizabeth Dulau is the BBY 5-1 version of Kleya Marquis. So, if Rael was Lear, is Marquis Ikram? Not sure. We're never told. Anton Lesser is Major Leo Partagas, head of ISB operations on Coruscant. Robert Ems plays Supervisor Lonnie Young. Jacob James Beswick is Supervisor Hirt. April V. Woods plays teenage Kleya. 2 episodes of Gangs of London when she was 12. 34 episodes of a show called Mallory Towers from age 13 to 15 for her. Now, I'll go to cast listings in the order of appearance section. Now remember, first appearance only. First appearance in Season 2 merits a deeper look at your resume, but anyone already appearing is going to get skipped. Just too many names.
Nobody here gives their real name.
New to Season 2 is the medic leader, played by Finney Cassidy. 36 episodes of a show called Evermore on the Disney Channel, and I spotted an episode of Casualty, too. Attendant Joy Dolly is Jonathan Oldfeld. He's in episode 11 as well. Lapori is Keelan Dunn, and that's spelled Caoilfhionn, and I looked up the pronunciation. It is Keelan. They were in a 2025 episode of Doctor Who. Private Moros is Jacob Avery. He was on EastEnders, Doctors, and Casualty. Corporal Amari is Bailey Patrick, EastEnders, Casualty, Good Omens, Bridgerton, as Mr. Harris. Dr. Brader is Pandora Collin, Casualty, way back in 1994. Doctors in a couple episodes in 2007 and 2018. Penny Dreadful, Chernobyl, The Diplomat, voice in a Doctor Who audio play, and video game voices in Dragon Age 2 and Inquisition, The Witcher 2 and 3, Fable, and Sea of Thieves. Nurse number 1 is Christy Malpass, Matilda the Musical from Netflix, 2024 episode of Casualty. Nurse number 2 is Karishma Navakar. Bridgerton as Eloise's maid in 2020. A client in Enola Holmes 2. And she was in The Day of the Jackal. And these two, I think, are the nurses that are gossiping while Kleya is trying to break into one of the nurses' lockers. Tinch is Juliet Cowan. I think this is the traitor, the first traitor that we see on the Sandy Pine planet. A 2003 episode of Doctors for her, EastEnders, 2 episodes of Casualty, and she was on a Doctor Who podcast series. The ISB Sentry is Barney Joe Jones, an episode of EastEnders for him that I noticed. Grenwig is Jem Wall. EastEnders, a 2010 episode of Doctor Who. Game of Thrones Season 4, Episode 3 is Gaiman, Call the Midwife, and 3 episodes and 3 different characters over the years in Doctors. Boss Soldier is Liam Jevons. He's the one barking orders to the troops that sets up the firing squad. 1 episode of Doctors in 2015 and 1 episode of Casualty in 2023. The boy in the firing squad that we focus on is Andre Tamaklo, his second credit after appearing in a short in 2024. The door trooper is Robbie Keane. And no, I don't mean the character in Cobra Kai. It's the stunt performer turned actor. He performed in Rogue One and 3 episodes of Andor Season 1. Also Rise of Skywalker, Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, Avengers Age of Ultron, Peaky Blinders, Pennyworth, Dumbo, the Barbie movie, the Gentleman series, Fantastic Beasts 1 through 3, Justice League, 2017's Wonder Woman, King Arthur, Legend of the Sword, Doctor Who, and stunts in 7 episodes of Casualty. He's also got 3 acting credits, 1 in Peaky Blinders, and 1 now for Andor not involving stunts, as the trooper at the door not letting Kleya through at the hospital with the hoverchair patient. ISB guard is Robert Eads. He goes right past Kleya in the hallway after she sets off the blast. He was Jasper in Ted Lasso. Before we get to the recap and discussion, though, I want to briefly mention my experience watching this episode. I know I already did that in my first impressions episode, but this episode was tough to watch. My father went through a lung surgery last week to get him to be able to survive a heart catheterization procedure, and seeing Luthen on the table like we do, hooked up to the breathing apparatus, the fatherly role that he took on for Kleya, this wasn't an emotional episode for me. It's easier to get through if you're hearing a recap than it is watching it. Let me tell you, I just want to prepare you in case you haven't got your mindset. I would say be aware of your headspace when watching this. Maybe you do listen to this podcast up until I talk about the recap and then you go back and watch it. It's not a disclaimer, though, or a warning. I mean, I expect that you've already seen the episode and you will just want to hear more about it, but it's just a heads up.
He can go about his business.
You can go about your business.
Move along.
Move along. Move along.
Episode 10, Make It Stop, begins with the Ferrix Anvil like the other story arcs began. It's 1 year later, once again, BBY1. It's not just that, it's days from Rogue One. Days from A New Hope. Days from the Death Star's debut and destruction. On Coruscant, there's a rhythmic beep from Luthen's shop. It's a signal. Kleya hears it. She'll be sending her own signal by tomorrow and hoping someone else sees that signal. We see Lonnie walking somewhere. Apparently, he has sent this message. Kleya's getting ready. She's preparing for like a fight. She's taking blasters out. She's suiting up. She and Luthen are both clearly on edge. We still, at this point of the show, don't know what's the deal with these two. Luthen seems prepared to face whatever is coming. What awaits them for answering this call? Luthen wants to protect Kleya and tells her, keep her distance. She doesn't want to respond to this call unless it feels perfect.
Promise me if it doesn't look perfect, you won't engage.
I think we used up all the perfect.
Move. Now, that word means nothing to us at this point. It means something to Kleya. Move. We'll find out why later in the episode. Luthen heads off to meet with Lonnie. He's careful. He walks past, scans the area, and finally, Lonnie speaks, surprised he actually came.
You came.
You rang the big bell.
I always wondered if it would work.
Lonnie is a little shocked that Luthen is coming through. When you first get involved with something like this subterfuge, this espionage, this day, when you have to call in your chips, always seems so far in the future. Now it's here. So many times, either of them could have pulled the ripcord, but they kept plummeting toward the surface. And the surface on Coruscant, well, that's got to feel like an eternity to fall toward.
Dedra Miro contacted a friend of mine in Tactical last night. She's looking for a team to be put together for an operation in Coruscant. I think she's coming for you.
On the first watch through, you're not sure at this point if Lonnie's being paranoid or not. Miro's putting together a strike team? It turns out to be immensely important information. Luthen takes it seriously. I mean, but if she really knows, why haven't they already been caught? How did Luthen leave the shop without spotters in place? How did they not follow and find Lonnie? Luthen must be good enough to slip a tail, but he won't get another chance, and neither will Lonnie.
I'm burned. They'll be on me soon enough. I had to make a decision.
What have you done?
I figured it out. Everything. I know what we've been chasing.
Luthen may have been entertaining thoughts of running right away, but now he finds out he's got to string Lonnie along a little bit further. This partnership, this relationship, it might have been the most important contact he ever developed. Or Kleya. Lonnie Young is a true hero of the rebellion. Right up there with Luthen and Kleya, at least. All he wants is a little freedom for him and his family.
Promises were made. I have my wife and my daughter tucked away for the moment, but I need you to tell me how you're going to get us out of Coruscant.
Tell me what you've done.
I have had Dedra Miro's code cert for a year now. Total access. Her private storage.
The what-if game, man. What would have happened if Cassian had succeeded on Gorman in taking out Miro? Would the rebellion have failed at the might of this unknown space station? What if Luthen got spooked years ago and took out Lonnie too soon? Luthen is about to discover all the dirty secrets. He's been burning his future for a sunrise he'll never see.
The Emperor's energy program is a lie. All of it. The rebellion on Gorman was a front from the start, a cover to strip mine the planet for some mineral that they need.
Lonnie starts with Gorman. It was indeed a front from the start. It was for a mineral. We know it to be calcite. Lonnie thinks it's for a fuel. Doesn't matter what it is. There's more.
They're not looking for partisans on Jeddah. They need Kyber crystals, the crackdowns, the public order, the labor camps, Scarif.
Fronting for what?
A weapon. Orson Krennic's been building a secret weapon for over a decade. Colonel Yularen wasn't even told until a month ago.
What kind of weapon?
Where will you take us?
It's almost all laid bare. Lonnie is giving up all the information because he's a true rebel, but he's leaving himself with nothing to bargain. Luthen says it's no time to play games, but Lonnie just got played. As soon as Luthen let slip where he planned on taking Lonnie, I knew. And there's no way Luthen lets Yavin slip in a park. That's the kind of thing you hear when you're in hyperspace on the way there. Honestly, why not just lie? What if you're being listened to? Maybe Luthen's heart was just big enough for the truth right before the end.
Yavin.
What is that?
We'll be safe there. As safe as we can be.
Yavin.
Tell me about the weapon.
Poor Lonnie has no idea what's coming. It's not a trip to Yavin. I wonder what'll happen to his wife and daughter who were tucked away. I'd like to think he gave them instructions to get away safely if he doesn't get back in touch with them. I'd like to think the Empire had no use for them. Maybe they couldn't find them fast enough and then the Death Star ends up getting exploded and that gives them time enough to get away. I mean, Lonnie knew the risks, though, but did his family? Luthen asks for more details about this weapon being built. The next thing we see is a shot of Luthen scrambling down the steps. And then we see the shot of Lonnie on the bench, slumped over. There's a Tuca cat led off its leash by its owner, name of Pix. Comes over to Lonnie, and we see he's been shot in the heart by a blaster. Lonnie never makes it off Coruscant. But will the information he provided for the rebellion make it off-world?
Gorman, Scarif, Kyber, Krennic, Urso.
Galen Urso, Galen.
Engineer, Galen Urso. Superweapon, based in Scarif, fuel from Gorman, Kyber from Jeddah. ISB Krennic, Galen Urso.
And you know where to go.
The episode is starting fast-paced, even though it's a lot of dialogue. My heart is racing, though, at this pacing. And I know the information gets to the rebels because Rogue One happens. A New Hope happens. So how is this possible? It's because we're still holding out hope Luthen and Kleya will make it. I was holding out hope that Lonnie would make it. Kleya being told this information, though, is the setup that either she or Luthen won't make it. At this point, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Luthen, but we don't know how. He's back at the shop. He pours some viscous metallic liquid over the comms. It smokes. It burns. I'm thinking, what about your ship, dude? Maybe he's never been to Yavin in the Fondor Hallcraft. Everywhere else, though, wouldn't all that be discovered through the ship's computers? I'm guessing he's never been anywhere near Yavin, and maybe that's the only way he keeps the rebellion safe. And then there's this ring at the door to the shop. Who could it be?
I've passed by here many times. I've always wanted to come in.
And here you are, at last. Luthen Rail.
Dedra Miro. So calm here. Peaceful.
Can I tell you how much it pleases me to hear that?
Luthen already knows, based on Lonnie's intel, that Miro is planning a raid. He's got to be wondering, is this it? Stellan Skarsgård in this scene is amazing. He's got to portray fear. This is it. She's got me. This is the end. He's also got to play some relief. This is it. It's over, but we're going to win. He's also got to play this surprise joy. How can she be so stupid not to come in stuns blazing and take me down? Dedra Miro, for all her intellect and guile, cannot help but betray everything she's worked for with the hubris that so many Imperials show time after time. I'd call it a stroke of luck, but this show has been nothing but this string of breaks that the rebellion keeps working toward, and who's to say someone else wouldn't have come through if, say, Cyril just shoots Cassian on Gorman? If Olaf doesn't die in Narkina 5, do Kino Loy and Cassian ever get confirmation the prison sentences are lies from that doctor? Would there be no other way that they break out of the prison on Narkina 5? The dialogue by Tom Bissell is just so good. He got his at-bats with these first 3 scripts, right? And then here, in his first at-bat, he knocks one out of the park.
Is everything real?
Ah, what a wise question. Forgery is the sad curse of antiquities. At the moment, only 2 pieces of questionable provenance in the gallery. Any guesses?
I don't think it's a secret. I think it's him and Dedra. Luthen and Dedra are the 2 pieces of questionable provenance. Luthen does show Dedra a Nautilin bleeder, a ceremonial dagger that looks to be made of kyber, could be just any crystal. I was wondering, was this among Kit Fisto's personal belongings because of some of the other items that we saw that were like the Naboo headdress and then Plo Koon's breather apparatus? It might not have actually been his, but did this belong to the Nautilin Jedi that was killed in Palpatine's office in the duel where Anakin betrays the Order and cuts off Mace Windu's hands? Is this that Nautilin's personal dagger?
It's a Nautilin bleeder. 60 centuries old. Probably ceremonial. Only 3 others have ever been found.
And? Is it real?
We still don't know. The tension mounts.
The tension mounts. It sure does. Miro says, hey, I've got something for you.
It would have to be stunning.
Now I'm nervous. What if it's not?
Not what?
Stunning.
What a play on words. Stunning. Dedra has to stun Luthen. She can't kill him. She needs him to spill all the intel she can get for her personal triumph. If she just pulls out the gun and stuns him right now, game over. Even though he's damaged the comms device, what's in his head is far more dangerous. Instead, she goes to theatrics.
A vintage Imperial Starpath unit. What do you think? A little damaged, perhaps. But I'd say it's held its value.
She shows him the Starpath unit Cashin stole way back in Season 1. And then he presented it to Luthen, but they never got off of Ferrix with that item. That heist was what earned him a spot on the Aldhani heist. Dedra has been holding on to this all this time. She taunts Luthen. She tells him, "You disgust me. All this time you've been hiding in the shelter of Imperial peace and quiet." At least that's what she calls it.
Freedom scares you.
Freedom. You don't want freedom. You want chaos. Chaos for everyone but you. Ruin the galaxy and then run back to your ridiculous wig and little workshop.
How confident you are.
She says we're done here and the building is surrounded. She's monologuing. This is giving Luthen time. Time to think, time to stall.
You're finished.
And you're too late. The rebellion isn't here anymore. It's flown away. It's everywhere now. There's a whole galaxy out there waiting to disgust you.
Dedra is too confident. She couldn't help herself. She doesn't just trigger the raid. She puts the Starpath unit away, and then she notices the smoke from the back of his shop.
What have you done? Turn around. Turn around, or be stunned. No. All units engage. I need a med team. Now!
Luthen has to adapt, and he uses the tool he had on hand. While Dedra was busy, he was too. He bleeds himself with that Nautilin bleeder. It's literally a sacrifice in blood. Dedra finally calls in help. The med team gets there just in time to take him into custody, still alive. He gets shuttled to a hospital. Kleya sees this happen from the crowd. Luthen is critically wounded. But unless someone can finish the job, it'll just be a matter of time before they have him awake and start to torture him. It's a race against time. He may not be able to talk for days, but they may be able to get something out of him by drugging him or tricking him. Dedra, on the other hand, is already cooked. Whether or not they get this intel does not matter anymore. There's been a breach, she's screwed up, and not just by letting Luthen harm himself. We will learn the next episode just how low she has fallen in the eyes of her superiors.
Hasn't the meeting started?
He called it off.
What?
I'll let him tell you.
About Young. We just got word 3 minutes ago.
No. This thing with Miro.
Supervisor here!
The ISB is finally finding out about Lonnie. Now, they may not suspect him yet of all that he's done, but they're going to review his activity and have reason to suspect it. Partagas actually seems surprised that Lonnie's dead. Young played his part so well, the pieces are finally starting to fall into place. It is surely going to end badly for Dedra now. She violated protocol, went out of mission scope, and now she's going to pay for losing her gamble at Glory. Really, it wasn't the insubordination. It was failure without having someone else to blame. There is a terrific crime scene montage of ISB techs going through Luthen's shop, and it seems that the Fondor Hallcraft was not just parked out back, it was connected to the workshop while docked. I mentioned it before, I don't even see them checking ship travel logs or anything. It's possible he wiped those first and we just don't see it. But in this medium, you got to show or tell. We can't just guess and assume. But we leave them sweeping the shop and we join Kleya at the safe house. We're on the verge of flashbacks that are finally going to reveal the relationship between Kleya and Luthen. We see Luthen in an Imperial Army uniform on a ship. There's battle raging outside. He's sought refuge inside, and we hear the blaster fire. Stragglers, runners on a hill. Where do they think they're going? Strafe the ridge. If it's moving, kill it. Wipe the cabins. Hit it. Hit it hard. All of this is too much for Luthen to hear. These are people, he's thinking. How does Kleya remember this? Was she there? She snaps out of it, back in the safe house. She starts gathering hidden tools. She starts remembering. We see Luthen again. He's hearing people lined up against a wall. He hears the firing squad. He says, make it stop. Rosh Nelutz. That has no real-world translation. It's probably his native language in Star Wars universe.
Stop. Stop, Rosh Nelutz. Make it stop. Rosh Nelutz. Make it stop!
Luthen's language, not Skarsgård. It's not Swedish. We still don't know how Kleya is remembering Luthen's past at this point. If she's watching, however, she will see how disturbed he is by this.
Make it stop! Make it stop!
Let's go! Moving! Sergeant! Are you in there? There you are. Cap's been looking for you.
I had to reload.
We cleared that other basement.
I heard it.
We see Luthen interact with a soldier. Luthen is a sergeant, and his absence from battle is noticed. The soldier seems excited at the carnage, looking for more burners to kill more people, and they just killed 50 people in a basement. He leaves, he turns back on Luthen's radio. There are more settlements to wipe out. Luthen seems resigned to this fate, but walking away, he hears a gasp. He investigates and finds a little girl stowed away alone. She was clever enough to sneak onto an enemy ship, and whatever planet this is, that's where she's from, Kleya. Wherever this planet is, we're never told, this is where she's from. Luthen finds her. The captain starts calling out for his sergeant.
Yes, Sergeant Kleya. Anyone? He's in the ship, sir. Kleya, are you in there? Sergeant!
Where is Sergeant Lear? Well, that's Luthen's real name. It's not Rael, it's Lear. And I don't see a parallel to King Lear here. Learrael. There was never a falling out between Luthen and Kleya, like Cordelia and Lear. She expressed her love for him without being showy. It was through obedience. If there were any divided loyalties, it may be said that the rebellion and Kleya were divided loyalty, but it wasn't really played that way. It wasn't really a tragedy. It's a triumph. I mean, there might be a way to tie in some Shakespeare, but not everything has to mean more than just a name. Mean, name. Same letters, different order, just like Rael and Lear. Anyway, the real takeaway is this is how Luthen and Kleya met. This is why Kleya was recalling these memories of Luthen. She's got a job to do, and she may not want to do it, but she knows it must be done. And I've been saying this since season 1. She is one of the best Star Wars characters come out of this show. I know I don't get to see her in the next wing, and I said if she does, then she's like top 10. This character is fantastic, though. If she's not top 10, she's right up there. Go back and listen. I'm not a fair weather fan here. Kleya is just the best, and she heads out for her mission, recalling more of Luthen's betrayal of the Empire. A soldier's in the ship asking, why can't we get in the air to strafe the ridge? He says, a converter is stalling. I had to reset. I hear Tashi Station has some good power converters. Luthen is just matter of fact with his refusal to participate at this point. It's a computer, man. It's got to reboot. What can I do?
They want us in the air.
We're stalling on the way in.
He wants to strafe the ridge.
It's resetting. What can I do?
The scene continues until Luthen is alone again.
Don't be too long. Can't believe there's anyone left. But you don't want to be out here alone.
I'll be right behind you.
Well, not alone, right? He uncovers the crawl space, reaches out, and grabs young Kleya's hand. She can't be more than 6 or 7, and he's made his choice. He's going to hide her, protect her, and this is Luthen's way of atonement. He is seeking absolution for the horrors. It's not a deal he's made. He's just hoping this will be enough. At this point, This girl is innocent. He will realize later that his corruption, his tainted soul, will taint this innocent one. And honestly, the rebellion is better off because of it. Most of the rest of the episode is going to be cuts between Kleya's self-imposed mission to reach Luthen and these flashbacks that show her growth. We will see brief memories of her learning to be who she is from this father figure. But first, we see she's reached the hospital. It is named for a former chancellor. I translated the Aurebesh. It is Lena So, and she is from the High Republic days. Lena So Hospital.
When can I have him?
For what?
I need him talking.
Right now that room is keeping him alive.
Inside Lena So Hospital on the 19th floor, Dedra realizes, I'm in big trouble. This is not going to go poorly for her. It's going to go really bad. Luthen cannot talk, and may not ever. She makes the right call to secure the floor, but she's not at a military facility. She's at a hospital, and doctors care for their patients. They're looking out for health and well-being. They're not going to be completely helpful, especially when you threaten them.
This is an elevated ISB priority. I suggest you speak to your medical director about what is expected. We'll be taking command of this hallway. You need to clear everyone immediately.
The floor's full. These are my patients.
Then I'm sure you'll do a better job moving them than we will.
Kleya is posing as a person with a hand wound. She gains entry to the hospital, discards her flimsy disguise, but she's made no effort to cover her face. Now, I wonder why. There's this galaxy full of aliens. Why can't you just do a slightly better job of concealing your face, even if it's just some sort of veil? I mean, I know why, because we have a plot that needs to happen, but maybe there's more to it. Maybe Kleya doesn't care if she's caught after she fulfills her mission. She takes out a tool she found in the safe house, and it's a safe cracking device. Like R2's Scomp Link, but in a flat puck-like form. And the nursing lockers are circular pods. I love this Star Wars stuff, man. It's just so interesting and different. Kleya overhears nurses gossip about who the VIP is. I don't think Kleya gets a floor number yet. It's when she finally gets that nursing uniform, which is just a little too big for her, but not ridiculously large or way too small. But she's on a walk and she spots Supervisor Hirt heading up to floor 19 on a turbo lift. At one point, there is an alien that looks like a Saurian, the Kiadi Mundi race, in a Bacta-tube behind her. Not Kiadi Mundi, obviously. And then there's this tiny anteater-looking alien as well. I mean, Coruscant might be mostly human on the upper levels, but this hospital serves everyone.
Everything's under control.
That's a bold statement.
I expect to have him ready for interrogation by tomorrow night.
You waited for my day off.
I couldn't risk a leak.
How ironic.
Before Miro meets here, we got that really interestingly shot scene where she's going to meet him coming out of the turbo lift. She's still trying to salvage something out of her mistake, but it's too late. And we see him walking one way, her walking the other way. They're across it's like a U-shaped hospital, and he's on one end, she's on the other, and they go to meet, and then they meet in the middle there. And she's talking to Hirt. He's not buying what she's selling. And even her supporter, it turns out, Major Partagaz, he's starting to trim loose threads. She's realizing, man, I'm one of those loose threads.
You're under arrest, Dedra.
That's ridiculous. I have access. I found him.
I came with an ISB marshal.
I have to talk to Partagaz.
He sent me.
Fine. Let's get this sorted.
Kleya takes an opportunity to ferry a patient in a hover chair, and it looks a lot like E.T.'s species that we do get in The Phantom Menace. Argosians, we know that the species is part of the galaxy here. It could be, but I couldn't find any confirmation. That's probably not the first question I would have for the writer, though. It's not very important to the story. Kleya walks off with this patient, and then we get a flashback of her and Luthen walking in Florida. I mean, it's got sand and pine trees. Looks like the woods where I grew up playing.
Let's walk back.
Let her count her.
7. Forget it. This your daughter?
Yes.
Is that got sentimental value? Because I could go up to 9.
Luthen and Kleya are trying to sell an artifact of some kind. This might even be the first antique ever sold. This could be the beginning of the experiences that led to the shop on Coruscant. Whatever it is, it's a pure kilo. I don't know if that's weight. It looks like a lion, and since we had Lena So Hospital, it kind of looks like the giant cats that she had. She, Lena So, that chancellor that the hospital is named after, had 2 animals called Targans that were named after the patron gods of Coruscant, Matari and Voru. A Targan is basically a 4-eyed lion. So it could be that. Anyway, this thing may have been legitimately obtained, or since a thief was mentioned, maybe it was something stolen. It's worth 40, offered for 20, countered to 7, bantered back to 18 by young Kleya, and during the back and forth, Luthen mentions a wife, and he doesn't offer, but he's asked, "Is this your daughter?" And he says yes.
20. 10 if you smile.
20.
Does she know how this works?
We already have an offer for 15.
Oh, who done that?
Zuli, back by the gate.
Suli, and she's a thief.
20.
18's my max.
Sold. But no smile.
I mean, he's just telling a story, painting a picture. But Kleya is clever enough, let's go along with this story. Embellish more. After the deal is done, Kleya needs to clarify things.
Am I your daughter now?
When it's useful,
I have to think about that.
we'll be whoever we have to. It won't always be up to us. I'm Luthen now, you're Kleya. Everything else is up for grabs.
Luthen is protective. I mean, she's lucky he's not a creep. In the present, Kleya is taking her patient up the turbo lift. There's some music playing in the lift that sounds a little like the Neomos music, like a remix of it, a music remix of Neomos. We've heard this song for the past couple seasons. I think it's that. I don't know. I really enjoy those little hidden things. I missed it completely the first time through. And then when you go back and you look real closely for the recaps and discussions, you sometimes hear things in the headphones or see things in closed captioning that you missed the first time through. The lift stops short of 19.
17's as far as you go.
We're trying to get to the 19th floor.
It's special access only at the moment.
Her daughter's up there.
Sorry, love.
We'll check in down here then. Let them know.
Kleya has to adapt. She moves into 17. We flash back to another memory. It's a new planet, looks like Morocco or southern Spain. Luthen and Kleya are dressed a little better now. They're still trading. This time more expensive jewelry.
Nice work. You know what it is?
Deveronian. Victory necklace.
How'd you know to bring it here?
I heard you collected.
Luthen says this piece bears a mark. We've seen Deveronians in A New Hope, in the Cantina, and then in The Mandalorian Season 1, Berg is a Deveronian. That's the episode with the prison ship infiltration in Miggs Mayfeld, and Berg was the Deveronian muscle. There's a commotion coming down the steps. The traitor tells Luthen that an Imperial was killed by a sniper, and the troopers keep finding the ones that did it. There will be a firing squad, and several people are going to be killed. Efficiency of writing here. It does not matter if this is the group that did it or not. We've been told all that matters. The Empire keeps finding people who did it. Is everyone responsible? I mean, why did a sniper kill a soldier in the first place? Is this retaliation? Or was the sniper retaliating for something? Some overreach? Where did it all start? In the end, it doesn't matter. The Empire keeps committing atrocities.
All right, get him lined up!
You hear me? We're leaving.
I'm not.
There's nothing here for us. Kleya! You're on your own.
Kleya wants to stay and watch. She wants to see for herself why it's so terrible. She focuses on the youngest in the crowd. So many of the crowd look away, but she doesn't. She catches up to Luthen after and she asks, when do we get to start fighting back?
When do we start fighting back?
We have.
By walking away.
We fight to win. That means we lose. And lose and lose and lose. Until we're ready.
Kleya watched because she's doing what she and Luthen didn't do on the ship years ago when they met. She didn't want to be killed, and that's why she hid. Luthen didn't want to kill, and he was hiding in the ship too. Now she's reached the age where she doesn't want to hide anymore. It might have been eating at her, not knowing how brutal it was outside that ship when all that killing was going on her home planet. Her family was part of the people that were slaughtered in that basement. Luthen doesn't want her to forget. He just tells her, bottle it up. He's going to teach her how to release it.
All you know now is how much you hate. You bank that, you hide that. You keep it alive until you know what to do with it. And when I tell you to move, you move.
Move! And we finally hear why that command, move, early in the episode was so emotional for Kleya. That was when they used up all the perfect. And we heard soldiers saying it to Luthen. We heard Luthen saying it to Kleya. Now we see he has been teaching her to be the kind of soldier she wants to be, not the kind of soldier he was.
You're going to have to turn back. There's no access here.
I was sent for Dr. Nash.
This unit is closed. Let's go.
Kleya is making her way up to 19, and when she does, she has to kill. It's a soldier just doing his job, but he's in her way. Now, was there a way to do it without killing him? Maybe, maybe not. She makes a split-second decision, and he won't be the only casualty on this floor. She comes out of the stairwell, sees Luthen clearly from across the other side of the hospital, so it's either U-shaped or H-shaped. It could be the same way on the other side. She's on the one end, looking across the gap at the other arm of the U, shall we say. There's too many soldiers between her and her goal. Now, I don't know how they don't see her coming off, and with this blaster and stuff, I don't know what they're watching at. She still hasn't set off her distraction. She needs one. She planned for one. But she pauses before she detonates some of those charges. There is a flashback to the first strike against the Empire, and guess what? It came on Naboo.
We're backing out.
You need to pay attention. Life shows us what we stand to lose. Most people look away. We can't be like that. Look at me.
Even at this moment, Luthen is telling her, it's okay. You can back out of hurting others. Kleya's got this anger, though. She's been bottling it up. He's been telling her to. He's still giving her the option to back out. It's not too late.
You need to accept what you're leaving behind.
All right. We're here. It's a pretty place. None of that matters right now. You're just being sad.
I need to know you're making a choice. I lived most of my life without ever realizing that was a possibility.
You're afraid.
Listen to her. I'd argue if this really was his daughter, he'd have less patience. He is showing some amazing restraint. What parental figures did Luthen have growing up that let him give this gift back to Kleya? His patience. Maybe he already knows that she's going to go through with this bombing and this is all just for show, this pause.
I'm only afraid of what I'm doing to you.
I know what I want.
Do it.
You think I won't?
You have every right.
You take in the scene. There's this piece of the Naboo cafe. The families are having privileged lunch. And there's still that presence of the Empire. Rich people come from here. The Emperor called this home. Kleya reaches out for the remote. Luthen stops her. A final mercy. He'll do it.
Why are you doing this?
Because today it's real.
You promised.
I lie. Get used to it. Don't. Look at me.
He presses the button, and the signal is sent, but it's not immediate. Instead, there's another little pause. Enough time for him to tell her to look at him. And earlier he said he didn't want her to look away like other people, but maybe it's not what he meant.
Turn. You'll be leaving now. We made our choice.
This is like the crossing of the Rubicon for her. There's no going back. In the present, Kleya detonates her charges in the parking structure. It sends several of the troopers running, Some stay behind. This is a much more manageable amount for Kleya to deal with now, though. She kills 2 more soldiers with blaster pistol, makes her way to Luthen's room. No more flashbacks. Just a daughter looking at her father and having to make a decision that is sure to absolutely haunt her. She must give her dad the gift of death. And I didn't know if I was going to be crying when I said it, but I had to type this out in tears because I was afraid if I thought about it, I wouldn't be able to get through it. Kleya disconnects Luthen from the breathing apparatus, and he dies, slowly taking his final breaths. Kleya tearfully kisses him and makes her escape. The most powerful episode of Andor yet fades to black from the hero of the cause, Luthen Rael. This is the end of the recap and discussion for episode 10, the first part of the BBY1 story arc. Emotional. To say this was a tough episode to watch would be downplaying it. I can't explain my emotions more than to say this came at a really tough time for me personally, and I'm one of the lucky ones. My dad went through a robotic lung surgery and a heart catheterization in less than a week's time, and survived both. Now, I did see things in the ICU, and I felt things as a result. Will I be able to watch this episode in the future without those emotions? I'm not sure. At some point, I'll rewatch the show, almost certainly next year for the 10th anniversary of Rogue One, when there will be edited episodes shown in theaters of these story arcs. In episode 10, we lose 2 characters. It turns out both of them were crucial to the formation of the rebellion. R.I.P. Luthen and Lonnie. They may never get the credit in universe, but we know. Kleya also cements herself in legend as one of the greatest rebel spies. Next up, episode 11, entitled Who Else Knows? The description: Cassian returns to Coruscant for one last extraction.
Compression cipher. Burst broadcast. Abbreviated chain. Too short to be decoded. I'm guessing it's something you've memorized.
Is the U-wing powered up?
Was I correct?
Is the ship prepped?
You can send feedback or comments to me via email at thisisthewaypodcast@gmail.com. There are other ways, like on YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram. The best method remains our email address. And please subscribe if you haven't already, like this video, and tell people about this podcast. I'm your host, Steve Lascalzo, and this is The Way. May the Force be with you, always.